was a nice rousing applause. Thank you guys for this. All right. Welcome, Jamie, Stephanie. I apologize, everyone, for my day 3 raspy can voice here, but I will push on through. It's absolute joy to be up with you guys. We had a really fun initial conversation thinking about what we would kind of cover up here. And Stephanie, I told you I've got 3 kids. 2 of them are teenage boys. We are, like many my age, we're incredibly active in the sports world. And when I pick them up from a game or a practice, there's typically 2 questions. And the first or second one is, can we stop at Chipotle?
Love to hear it. Yeah, one of the biggest occasions for Chipotle is that post-workout. And that's legit. From, high school to the pros, athletes love Chipotle.
They really, well, first of all, I don't mind partaking, even though I haven't worked out as well with them. And secondly, I mean, it truly is. It's a part of what they think about. So I guess, thinking about it, though, is how did you get that? What I see in my 2 kids is so indicative of what so many people here probably see. It's the sense we get about the brand. Where does this start? Like, what's the origin? Not maybe like, where does it all come from? And how does it, we know where it finishes right now, but where does it start?
Yeah, I think Chipotle is so unique. Everyone has their own order. I'm sure your boys have their own order, can rattle it off. And I think they love the customization. I think, Gen Z and Gen Alpha have grown up with the Chipotle on the block. But truly, it's such a different proposition, bringing in real food, no freezers, no preservatives. And I think people just really see the difference and they love the customization. And, I think for athletes in specific, we're talking about whole foods, customizing your protein, macronutrients. It's just a really exciting brand to be on because it offers something very unique.
And I think obviously not only unique, but incredibly relevant to what is a primary concern for consumers now, right? Like fresh food, healthy food, et cetera. But it also comes down, Jamie, to knowing the consumer really well. And you mentioned something to me about the fundamental principle of insights on how you activate. Can you talk a little bit about what does insights mean to you and how you approach the business for Chipotle?
Yeah, I mean, we've been lucky to work with Steph and team and Chipotle for 9 years. So I feel like we've gotten to know the brand extremely well, which really is, yes, it's the customization, it's the 53 ingredients, but it really is the people and the fans. So it could be sports, and you get a lot of great insights from that. You also get, some of the weird and different things that Chipotle consumers do. And they steal a lot. So they, lemonade in a water cup, and the fork tastes better with the Chipotle fork, putting 10,000 napkins in your, glove box. And I mean,
I might be guilty. Sorry.
No, we've all done it. But, the team spends a lot of time paying attention to what the conversation is like, what the real fans are saying, and figuring out how to reflect that back to have them feel seen in the creative work. And we use social as a great place to sort of test some of those ideas, see what the reaction is, and then try to find times where we can really turn that up and make it bigger.
Can you talk a little about where do you find those insights? Where do you mine them?
Yeah, there's obviously, social listening and things you can do and paying attention to where Chipotle is showing up or how people are, maybe they're tagging it or using visual search. But we also lean on a really broad and diverse creative team to bring their own insights to it. It's important to have, our team is very Gen Z that works on Chipotle. We're kind of one team. I mean, we work really, really closely with Steph's team. And it's a mix of, what they can go out and search for, but it's also what they see organic. I mean, it's a lot of hard work to go out there and find it, but when we do find it, everything goes into what we call the Chipotle Insights Vault. So we catalog anything that could even be really kind of small and look at that as an opportunity for later.
All right, so
D1A is not afraid to bring those insights to Chipotle. So it's like, man, people just love your fork or the way people eat their bowl. It's a thing.
Do you mix or are you side to side?
Yeah, which one are you?
It's no mixing. No mixing.
I'm a no mixer.
I start methodically, work my way across.
And I think with the partnership with Day One, it's just finding those habits, those little idiosyncrasies, just what makes a customer really love Chipotle. And I think bringing those insights, creating content, and not being afraid to do something that's very different.
All right, you just said something that is probably pretty relevant to other marketers here. You said, don't be afraid. Yeah. How do you know? Well, one, how do you know which insights? You talked about a vault. I'm sure that vault is pretty stacked with different things. So how do you know which one you pick? And then, Stephanie, how do you let go to something that might be a little scary and you're like, ah?
How do you know? I mean, we pitch a lot of ideas. You're very open-minded. I appreciate that. You don't. I think sometimes you know and you feel it right away, and there's like a combination of, especially with Chipotle, a lot of times we're crossing over their audience maybe with a new one and trying to bring in new fans. So you sort of look and see like whether it's gaming or it's sports or it's something really small and niche like tattoo community, and bringing those in and finding what that overlap is, and then. We've, in the past, the way we used to do it is we would have like a Finstagram account. We would have 50 Gen Zers in it. We would test ideas and content to this small group first, and it allowed us to really understand like what the right sense of humor for the brand was and how it should show up. And then over the years, I think the team has become very comfortable with, pushing beyond what maybe would do well right away and to try to introduce new ideas. But social is a great place to try it because it's like the ultimate focus group.
Yeah, I think I love the example of Halloween. Chipotle has been activating Halloween for 26 years. And so, a team could get sick of activating or do the same thing over and over. I think one of my favorite examples for day one is they did a meme post because they recognized that basically Spirit Halloween, there's a costume for everything. And so they did a post where it was a fake costume, but it was our napkin. So you as a napkin. It blew up. And so instantly they came up and said, you know what, we want to do morph suits next year. Fork, napkin. Not the most attractive costume, I'll tell you that.
How about foil?
Foil
there was
there.
A burrito one, yeah.
But
my favorite.
We launched it the next year as a collab with Spirit Halloween. Over 30 billion earned impressions, 2 months of amazing content from September to Halloween. And I just love that because they're not afraid to pitch morph suits.
I think what I heard inherently too is try a lot of things at low risk. And then when you see it, you love it, you see they love it, maybe lean in.
Yeah, I mean, the Spirit Halloween, there was a meme that a lot of brands were playing with and doing stuff with 3 years ago. We did it as well. We saw a lot of organic feedback from that. Did it again bigger the next year, still just in social. And, we reached out to Spirit and tried to talk them into the idea. Originally, they were, not ready for it.
No?
Yeah, said no. And then I think you were just like, screw it, let's make them anyway, even if they don't want to do it. There's obviously a lot of excitement around this. And then that brought, Spirit around to being open-minded to it. But, when you say Halloween costume, it's like a black unitard, and that's the fork. It's not like a beautiful costume of a napkin. These were they were memes that you could
The beauty
wear.
is in the passion and the simplicity.
The fork is formed by your hand.
Yes, and I appreciate Sam on our team wearing it for all the photo shoots.
All right, Jamie, you mentioned something earlier about tattoos.
Yes.
I see something on your... Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit about this tattoo thing?
Definitely. So, I think one of the lessons we've learned is just cultivating stories over time, with our social audience. It goes a long way. We try different things, but one of the things we saw in 2019 was Adam Levine was at the Super Bowl. He was shirtless. And someone,
just happened to notice Adam Levine shirtless.
Yeah, they noticed it, and they said, you know what? They went to X, and they said his chest looks like a Chipotle bag that is pretty iconic for illustrations. And our team just retweeted that, and it went viral. And so I think this is a testament. 2019, it's 2026, and over the years we've been playing around with that joke in social. But it wasn't until last year, the Day One team, they recognized that Chipotle likes to be different than the category. And so we like to celebrate things that no one's done before. And so they said, how about celebrating Friday the 13th with a flash BOGO? Because tattoos are big on Friday the 13th. And so all you have to do is show your tattoo. It could be a real tattoo, a temporary tattoo. You could put a Chipotle bag around your arms. It didn't matter. And we said, okay, never heard of that. Let's try it. And it was our best hour of sales that the company had ever experienced. We followed up this year. We did a collab with Ray Shemmerd. and did a challenge on TikTok, and it was our best sales day in the first quarter of the company history. And it's really unique, like who celebrates tattoos, but we tapped into a fandom that, wanted to be seen, that connected to our brand in a unique way. No, it was awesome.
You were seen in a way that connected to the brand. It got a lot of attention. People were activated. But what's really interesting here is that it converted to driving the bottom line of Chipotle too. There are many, many brand activations that brands do all the time. Iconic figures, associated brands, and they don't translate into moving the business forward. But what I think is unique about many of the partnerships you've listed off here and a whole host of the other ones is that they convert to people actually getting to a Chipotle or ordering and changing the course of the revenue and sales of the company.
Yeah, we've never done a 1 hour BOGO. That's what we did. And I think the urgency and the content, the UGC leading up to the promotion was what got everyone excited more than just the discount. And I think that's kind of the testament of an epic activation.
Do you want to play the video?
Sorry?
You want to play the video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. I don't know if the tech team can do it.
What was the word to play the video? Banana?
Banana.
I think is what they want.
Banana.
We got it.
This is the story of how we turned a fan-driven meme into Chipotle's biggest sales day ever. But first, we need to talk about Friday the 13th. In the US, it's a tattoo tradition when people line up to get discounted flash tattoos from their favorite artists. Now, this is important to know because if you look like this, people describe you as
Had it like a Chipotle bag.
and over time, that became a way for people to describe their ideal type.
I love a man that's kind of tatted like a Chipotle bag.
But amidst the consumer uncertainty of 2025, people were opting to stay home rather than dine out at restaurants. And that was a problem. Because Chipotle's fandom is built on delicious ingredients and meals prepared fresh in front of you. So we did what we do best, tapped into our fans to turn a meme into a big brand moment. On Friday the 13th, we offered a flash 1 hour buy one get one offer for fans who were tatted like a Chipotle bag, turning cultural relevance into a new reason to dine in a way that only we could. We teased our campaign on social by tapping into the popular lookalike trend, then revealed the big news with some of our favorite human Chipotle bags. Stop looking at me like that, Vinny Hacker. And then we waited, and fans showed up. Lines formed around blocks nationwide. Our definition of tattoo was pretty open. Yep, that's a tattoo. That works. Oh, you taped our bag around your arm? Sure. We transformed an unexpected moment into a chance to prove that Chipotle gets their fans like no other brand in the category. The 1 hour promo drove more off-peak sales than any other day in Chipotle history and expanded our fandom to a new audience, even inspiring some real Chipotle ink. But that's not all, because when we brought it back, the results were even bigger. We more than doubled our sales from the first time, creating the highest performing sales day in our entire brand history. We got fans lining up in restaurants nationwide, thanks to a meme, a brand truth, and some seriously sick ink.
Congratulations to you guys on that. Pretty awesome.
A lot of fun.
All right, so slightly pivoting, you guys listen to your audiences, you do these amazing activations, tattoo, etc. But you also do as a brand, Stephanie, an amazing job showing up in culture, things that are already going on. So most recently, and diehard Celtics, New England sports fan here, kudos, flowers to the Knicks, right? Carrying an NBA championship.
Go Knicks.
You go, all right. NBA Finals just wrapped. We are in the middle of the World Cup. Is Chipotle an official marketing partner of either of those events?
No, we're not.
Okay. Chipotle, however, showed up in a pretty cool way, or has historically in both, right?
For sure, for sure. Well, this is kind of what we've just been talking about, is building the narratives and stories and talent relationships over time. But I remember my social and sports team came to me and said, we got to sponsor Mikal Bridges. He eats Chipotle 365 days a year.
Like literally 365 days.
And we said, seriously? It wasn't like, superstar of the league, but like, we wanted to recognize authentic fandom. And we said, definitely, like, that sounds awesome. And then Josh Hart, they played together at Villanova, also a huge Chipotle fan. And we featured him in activations. And now they're on the Knicks together. and we've been sponsoring them for years. And so what an incredible season that we could be a part of with them. But fortuitously, we have, activated the NBA Finals in a million different ways. I don't know if you want to talk about Timothy Chalamet to the Knicks parade, but all things that are non-traditional.
Don't worry, Jamie. No one from the NBA is here.
Was, you guys go in there and get in the car. But yeah, he had posted on social that he was a fan, shared his Chipotle bowl.
Huge Knicks fan.
Huge Knicks fan. If you're Knicks fans, you can't miss him. Courtside, parade, Ben Stiller's documentary. He's showing up everywhere. But there was a great moment to deliver him his celebrity card in a non-traditional way. So there are a couple members from the Chipotle marketing team that went to the game and yelled him out and put his celebrity card inside a empty Chipotle bowl basket and hand delivered it to him, caught the content, and just we're able to have something that felt really real. I mean, you send a lot of cards to people, but very rarely is it delivered in a moment in which that very simple piece of content gets to join into a much larger conversation.
Totally. And our brand campaign right now features a lot of our super fans, and Mikhail and Josh are in the ad, and we have their orders in the app. And, I honestly, we didn't know they were going to win the championship. How cool is that? And the day of the parade, we named the Chipotle on the route of the parade, Mikhail Bridges and Josh Hart's Chipotle. So, again, it's coming from that authentic fandom. And that's what we love to be a part of.
Yeah, the fans are the secret. And I think we've always talked about just how do we supercharge that love? So how do we find it and just pour gasoline on top of it?
Yeah. Well, I think the powerful takeaway there is that there are a limited number of official marketing partnerships. There are almost unlimited ways to activate fandom there. We kind of kicked this off. I was telling the story about my kids, who I guess are Gen Alpha, but it's clear, Chipotle has massive love from Gen Z, even down into Gen Alpha. I sit in a lot of conversations with brands, and they talk about our Gen Z strategy. I don't get the sense, though, that Chipotle has a Gen Z strategy, yet at the same time, you have probably one of the deepest devotions of affinity and fandom from Gen Z. How?
Yeah, I think it helps that the fans are young. We have that. We also both have very young team members.
Amazing teams.
Yeah, I would say 40% of our agency is Gen Z. The majority of the team that's on Chipotle is as well. So I think there's this sort of inherent knowledge of what's going on. They're also right now a generation that is making the most content and sharing the most about Chipotle. So when we go out and we find those fan truths and those fan insights, it's not coming from an older millennial. It's coming from the more active participant, which right now is Gen Z. But I don't think we've ever said, let's go out and create a campaign to reach Gen Z. We've said, let's go out and create things that are resonant for our audience.
Agreed.
And then that just so happens to be a younger audience. I mean, it's even digital. We saw a shift in millennial going into the restaurant, ordering in person, Gen Z more digital ordering, and we've pushed so much there. I mean, you guys have a massive loyalty rewards program now.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Day One and Chipotle really takes a lot of pride in developing young talent and empowering their voice. And I really like to see that. I see it day in and day out with our agency. And I think in this day and age, if you want to reflect culture, you gotta empower, that generation to be able to speak up and talk about ideas. And I think that's really our secret sauce. I really do.
I mean, the tattoo thing, that's not in my feed. That's not going to come from me. Other than this fake tattoo, I have none.
Is that the only one?
We'll talk about the other one. No, it's the only one. And we need those kids that are living and breathing it every day, and then to have a conversation all the time outside of meetings. I mean, we're on Teams together. There's tons of chats. We have a shared DM group on Instagram, and it's about constantly oversharing and having, a million small ideas and putting them in the vault, and then, jumping on the right one at the right time.
And I think it's a culture mindset. I think we really love to be first. We really love to have insights come from culture and then think about our brand ideas from that lens. And I think, just figuring out how to drive that fandom, I think that more than a Gen Z strategy.
Yeah. The thing that's clear to me, too, is that this is not an accident. a lot of brands, again, talk about certain things, and you both action on them every day for Chipotle, so they manifest. One thing that's also pretty clear, kind of as I chatted with you two, and I'm sure everyone kind of sees it up here, is the rapport that you guys have. And I saw it with the broader teams. How does that what role does that play? Everyone here is seeing, again, the output of it. What goes in behind that to create all of this?
I think there's a lot of trust. I think, that Jamie's team, my team, they're constantly connected every day. They're meeting in the morning. They're talking about what happened last night. Should we jump in? They're constantly texting each other ideas. And I think they're not afraid of ideas come from everywhere. I think you got to have that mindset, right? And it's from the top, from the bottom, from fans, they come from everywhere. And I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, I mean, Steph just mentioned there's a daily stand-up every day. It's not just our teams. It's a lot of Chipotle's partners looking at what's happening in culture. And I mean, some days there's nothing, and some days there's 3 or 4 things. And then it's weighing what's the right thing to get onto. I mean, some of your team members work out of our office frequently. If they were all to be in a room debating ideas, I don't think you could tell who worked at day one and who worked at Chipotle. And I think that's where it really works.
For sure.
That's pretty special. All right. Anyone dying? We have an opportunity for one question. Anyone dying to ask a question out there? Besides, where's the nearest Chipotle and can I get a free gift card? I know Schlachter's looking for lunch somewhere.
All the hands go down.
Yeah.
No gift
All right.
card.
What's the next insight, Jamie or Stephanie?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, we were talking about the hot sauce yesterday. I feel like we're starting to, it's funny, as there's new LTOs and new, honey chicken and some of these, brand innovations on the product side, it unlocks new ways in which people eat the food and, experience the food. So as we've been rolling those out, even repeating some year over year, we now have kind of interesting insights around that. But I don't know, what's the broader next insight? I think for us, it's also just, we're obviously a lot of people here are talking about AI. I think you're seeing it everywhere.
We almost went an entire panel.
I'm sorry. I will say, for Super Bowl this year, we focused on real. We ran a, promotion during the first all AI, commercial. And I think for us, it's really understanding this audience, this next gen audience wants real. And I think that's the insight.
Yeah, I think we want to leverage creators and talent in new ways, and I think I think there's an insight there. I think it can come from unconventional places. The Mikhail Bridges example, Josh Hart, but even we just did a product launch for Chipotle Honey Chicken. We partnered with Taylor Lautner. Our fans love Chipotle Honey Chicken. It was a big comeback story. Why not tap into another comeback story, which is Taylor Lautner? And that content did really well for us. And actually, the product did 20% higher sales because of that integration. And I think, how do you leverage creators? We talk about authenticity, we talk about real fandom, but I think there's more content opportunities than ever before because people want to have a real approach. And I think, how do you use that creator in a different way? And I think that's something we're always talking about.
I think it's great because we were all wondering what happened to Taylor Lautner as well. This was a lot of fun. I want to thank you for giving me permission to feel better about all those napkins in my glove compartment too.
Always.
And really appreciate this, guys. Stephanie, Jamie, thank you.
Thank you.